Hey, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and before we get started on this weekend's episode, I thought to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees, starting with you, DD Stars. I know this is not the first time you've contributed to the podcast, and your comment there is, this podcast is a national treasure. Thank you, Tinto. Here's to many more. Thank you, my lovely. And then Melanated Laura, thank you again for your generous contribution. I know this is not the first time you've contributed as well. And your comment there is coffees for our lovely host, or should I say Mr. Putiti. We appreciate you. If you guys don't know where Mr. Putiti comes from, please head over to 6 Foot Weights and listen to the episode called Mr. Putiti, because for the first time I tell you about my ex in that episode. And then last but not least, the one and only Chitere Bogus, welcome back. Thank you so much for your generous contribution. And your comment there is, I have been slacking and need to catch up on the latest episode. Straight Bogus, come on, get with the program. If you would like to support the podcast in a similar way, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feelingstation and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there is nothing too small to support the podcast you've grown to love. And if you want to look really good in the merch that we have, come on over to Twitter and Instagram, hit me up with a DM, and I'll arrange for amazing t-shirts to be sent to you. With that out of the way, let's get straight into this weekend's episode. We are continuing with the Harare edition of TFS episodes. The episode you're about to listen to contains descriptions of physical and sexual abuse that you may find disturbing. If discussions of this nature are likely to trigger you, I recommend that you skip this episode.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Welcome to The Feeling Station, a podcast that touches on breakup stories and family and friendship breakups that people would like to talk about, with a view to give you lessons from my guest experience. I hope you find the story entertaining, but more important, meaningful, given everything we're going to talk about today. Now, the podcast is popular for two main reasons. The first being I do my best to keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the fun part, the part where we talk about the name I'm giving to you today, Miguel, right?
Let's hear it.
So I'm keeping your name Zimbabwean because I'm in Zimbabwe and I'm loving what I'm feeling right now. Okay. So your name is Tadiwa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very easy to remember, right? And it's very common with the younger people now, with the younger generation. And what Tadiwa means is we are loved. I don't know how that relates with your ex. We wouldn't be talking about this if you still felt loved. So I don't know how that relates.
Yeah, maybe it would be Takadiwa. We were loved.
Past tense. It ain't the same no more. So your name is Tadiwa, and what are you calling the guy that you're going to talk about today?
We're calling him Musoro Bangu.
Oh my God.
Banguza.
Musoro Bangu. You've taken me back in time. That's the first insult I got hurled by a teacher when I was young.
Really?
And I remember it very well, Musoro Bangu. And what that basically means for those that don't speak Shona, Musoro Bangu means big head. In a nutshell, right? That's what it means, right?
Yeah.
Now, are you going to call him Musoro Bangu the whole time, or are you going to shorten it?
I'll shorten it to Banguza.
Banguza. Okay. Right, so this is about Musoro Bangu and Banguza.
Yeah.
And the second reason why the podcast is doing great is there are real life lessons that people learn from the experience that you had. So what would you like people to learn from your story today?
That sometimes you're the toxic one.
Oh,
yeah.
One of them. You see, I'll tell you why this already sounds good. A good 85% of the episodes are people saying what has happened to them and not acknowledging that
what they did.
You know what they did. So for that to be one of your first lessons already makes me feel a type of way. Dope stuff. So sometimes you're the toxic one. Do you have another lesson?
You will never change the person they are.
Ooh, that is all too familiar.
Yeah. Who they are is who they are. Nothing you do, say, try will change them.
Have you got a third lesson?
Those red flags.
Hey, pop.
They'll never turn
red
green.
flags. The never ending red flags. So the red flags never turn green? Okay, and do you have another one?
Yeah. Don't hate someone so much that you become them.
Wow.
Yeah.
This really makes me feel like you've had good time to reflect on this.
Oh, I have.
Because you recognizing where it was problematic because of you and you're becoming the problem is not an easy thing to do. We all kind of want to lie to ourselves and say we are the angel and stuff, but you're recognizing where you fell short.
Yeah.
Dope. So let me play those back for those listening. Lesson number 1, sometimes you're the toxic one. Lesson number 2, you'll never be able to change the person they are. Number 3, the red flags will never turn green. And last but not least, don't hate someone so much that you become them. Oh,
yeah.
Tongue twister. So let's get into it. Tadiwa and Banguza. Tell me where you met this guy. And why did you feel, this is the guy I want to be my boyfriend?
I met Banguza on Tinder.
On Tinder? What? On Tinder, yeah?
On Tinder.
Right. I'll tell you why my reaction is like that. Okay. It's not abnormal for people to connect on Tinder. But what is a bit abnormal for me, and maybe I'm stereotyping, which is not a great thing. But a lot of people who come from Zimbabwe that I've spoken to, and they're based abroad, in the UK in particular, are hesitant to try Tinder in the first instance because you guys have a lot more avenues to meet people. You got church, there are a lot more social gatherings, there are a lot more parties that we don't have as much out there.
Yeah.
And they're all within your community, so it's easier to connect. How Tinder and why Tinder?
Remember when I said no judgment?
Yeah. Oh, well, yes, you did.
This is where we go.
Oh, right. Let's have it.
I wasn't looking for anything serious. I was looking for an arrangement of sorts.
I feel like you're being very political about that.
I am.
Say it as it is.
I was looking for a blesser.
You're looking for a blesser?
Exactly.
So I know people from South Africa, Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe will understand what blesser means.
Yeah.
But people outside that region may not understand because they may use a different word. So what is a blessing? What is a blesser expected to do?
You really could have just translated.
Nah. So you're looking for a blesser. What does a blesser do?
A blesser is the one guy who's taking care of financial needs. Yeah.
So you're looking specifically for somebody who is going to take care of your financial needs?
Yes.
How about your sexual needs?
No, I wasn't interested in that. But then typically in a blessee arrangement,
right,
he's the one who's looking for the sexual gratification, whatever.
So in your mind, you're okay to have the money side come?
Yes.
Knowing that it will have the sexual element associated with it?
Yes. All I was hoping for was let him be somebody
Attractive.
I can look at. Let him be somebody I can look at and not cringe. That was it for me.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're on Tinder, you're looking for a blesser?
Yeah, and on his profile, he had actually written something about mutually beneficial, seeking a mutually beneficial arrangement, something of the sort. And I was like, oh, okay, let's try this one. And I swiped right. He had already swiped right. Because at the time, I was like confident enough to put my pictures. So I had a few pictures up there and he had already swiped right. And, I'm all energetic and so I'm like, hey there. We started talking. And so we did have a small conversation on Tinder. And we're really vibing. And even when he brought up his bio, I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Because I hadn't said specifically on mine. Yeah, so when I saw his, I was like, okay, we may have hit the jackpot here.
Well, what did his bio say? So I know you mentioned that he said he was looking for something mutually beneficial.
Exactly.
But what else did he say? Was that all he said?
Yeah, there was that with no strings attached.
So all your boxes.
All my boxes were being ticked.
Wow.
All my boxes were being ticked.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So we spoke. Then he's like, "Would you want to speak on the phone? We could do a call." maybe you see me before we agree to doing this thing. You know, you see me, you see what I look like, see how I sound, if we really will be able to vibe on the phone,
Yeah.
you know, apart from the text.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we exchanged numbers. We moved to WhatsApp. I tell you, it was fire from the get-go. You know, we did, because at the time I was here in Harare and he was in Kadoma.
Yeah.
So he had gone for some work thing. We spoke on the phone at night, almost 3 hours, just talking.
Wow.
This is somebody I had met probably in the afternoon on Tinder. We'd swipe right on each other in the afternoon. In the evening, we're talking. We did almost 3 hours just talking.
Wow.
You know. So I feel maybe that's where it went wrong. Or
Why?
because, you know, with those kind of arrangements, you leave the strings at home. You know, you leave your feelings locked up in the cupboard or wherever. You lock them up.
So he was very clear that no strings attached. So
He was.
So I'm assuming his feelings, were in check.
They were.
But
Mine,
for you,
no.
Tadiwa,
At the beginning, they were.
they were in the cupboard.
In the cupboard. I was like, oh, we're vibing. It's great. You know? And he's like, I'm coming back to Harare tomorrow. Do you want to meet? Maybe we do lunch? I was like, yeah, sure, we can. He said, okay, cool. Came back the next day. Came to pick me up from Kadoma straight to where I stay to pick me up. So you can imagine, you know where I stay.
I know exactly where you stay. And I'm like, whoa.
Straight.
That is a long drive. So man them to get to your place and then bring you back?
Back.
Mad.
We did a nice lunch, you know, the looks part. I was like, whoo, thank God.
So did he look better in person than he did in the pictures?
He did. He did.
So for you,
because when I saw the pictures, I was like, what's going on here? I mean,
you were kind of in between. You didn't know.
Yeah. So when we then met in person, I was like, oh, okay, I can live with this.
It's always nice when someone looks better in person than they do in picture, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So during the lunch, we're talking, and then he's like, so I'm feeling you. Obviously, are you feeling me? I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling you. And he's like, so do you maybe want to seal the deal? I was like, yeah, sure.
Wait a minute. What is sealing the deal in this arrangement? Aye. I know deals have negotiations and stuff, but this deal is moving mad.
We met the previous afternoon. That's when we started talking. 24 hours later, we were... What's the politically correct?
There's no politically correct language here. Political PC does not reside on this podcast. So, I'll leave you to say it as it is.
24 hours later, we were, entangling.
I don't see Jada Pinkett here. Leave that away. This is not TV.
We were entangling in the bed.
I just had a visual. It's not a very great visual about things entangling and stuff.
I was young.
So
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
At the time, I had just turned 20 and he was 44.
Was that a problem for you?
No.
Because you're looking for a blesser.
Exactly. And there is no 28-year-old blesser.
Yeah.
There is no 32-year-old blesser, you see.
But you see, for me, this makes me want to ask one question. And I don't want to run away from the entanglement. I want to come back to that. Was he married?
At the time, he was separated. They were doing a separation thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to touch on that later.
Okay.
I just thought I'd ask the question. So within 24 hours, you guys have swiped right, left, you've met, you've had lunch, and you've had sex.
Yeah.
So was the sex what you expected from day one?
Oh.
Yeah, these streets of Harare. Yeah.
You know how you're always asking people whether they were digmatized?
Yes.
it was easy for me to be stigmatized. Because I went in
And this is from day one.
from day one.
You see, what is interesting for me already now is the fact you went into this whole thing for a blessing.
Exactly.
So the primary reason of engagement was financial.
Financial.
By this point, had you had any financial benefit?
So yes,
Already
I had.
within those.
Yes, the previous evening.
What
when he
happened?
wanted to do the call?
Yes.
When like during the call, my network started acting up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I hung up. And then he did a proper call. And I'm like, oh yeah, something is being weird. The Wi-Fi is being weird. And he's like, no. Let me send you some money on your EcoCash so that you get data.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, at the time, I think data was like $1, $2.
Right.
But then he sent like $20. So I'm like,
Mad.
okay. So it was like a commitment fee.
So you're like, nah, okay, this is starting to move in the direction I wanted it to.
Yeah.
move in.
So I was like, yeah, you know what? Since he's here, I'm here, and I'm kind of feeling him.
So since he's blessed you, you're gonna
Oh,
bless
I'm
him
gonna
too.
bless him. I'm gonna bless him with some of this goodness.
Okay, so you've blessed each other on the first night.
You know?
Did you guys at least check into a nice hotel?
Yes. So yeah, the whole time it was really nice places because also of his kind of job, I don't think he wanted to also be then seen in some of these shady places.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
So after that, we progressed very well. We're getting to know each other. I have a bit of a hot temper. So I think he noticed that the smallest things would tick me off. Yeah. So he would always try to skirt around the
issues that would
temper.
trip you up. Yeah.
Yes. So in this, he was separated. In this separation of his, the wife had gone but left the kids.
What?
Yeah. So when he told me that, I was like, huh? You know, no mother leaves her kids. So for me, honestly, that was the first red flag. I was like, no woman, no matter what, she would rather go with them than make a plan for them wherever she goes.
Yeah.
If she's going to leave them with their grandmother or an
That's
aunt,
that. Yeah.
that's that. But no woman is ever going to leave her house, her matrimonial home, and be like, yeah, I'm out, keep the kids. So the way he would talk about it though was she was the bad person, you know. Even tell me about how she used to hit him. She used to be abusive. You know, she was a chihera. Like that was always his excuse. He's like, you know how these are not chihera, but not whatnot. She was like the embodiment. You know, I was like,
wow.
So you know, you hearing that and him actually staying with the kids with a maid, it's kind of also not expected.
Yeah.
Because also, if a woman is leaving you and she leaves the kids, the next thing a man does usually is take them to their grandmother, his mom, or his sister. But he was staying with his kids.
What did he say the reason was for being on separation? Is it all these things you're describing? You know, that she beats me up and... Yeah,
she was being abusive. The family was being abusive at some point. Because I never quite understood whether she was a nurse or a doctor. But at some point, they were staying at Mpilo in Lawayo.
Yeah.
And the flat or apartment, I don't know the arrangement really for the nurses and doctors when they get accommodation from the hospital.
Yes.
The flat was in her name. So the mom at some point came to visit And then she was talking about how she's taking care of her husband. What kind of man just relaxes in a house that's in his wife's name? Why can't he make a plan for you here in Blawa, or you rent something nice instead of staying in the? Okay, I'm guessing the places were quite shabby. So the mother-in-law, his mother-in-law, was the one who was telling the daughter that. So I'm not sure whether that was exactly where their problem started, because this was back then.
So if you say back then, how long had these guys been separated for? Do you know?
At the time we met, they had been separated for about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and when these things were happening, they didn't even have a kid. And their oldest was, at the time she was 12, no, she was in Form 2. So that's what, 14 or 13, 14.
Mad.
You see? And these things had happened before.
Yeah, it's mad.
So I guess throughout the marriage and yeah. So, you know, when you're hearing all these things, how a whole side of the family, because things weren't looking up for him at the time, and he was, he was he was he was still kind of struggling. So I'm guessing that's why his wife's family looked down on him.
Okay.
That's his side of the story.
That's
his side of the story. So yeah. Anyway, so when he's telling me all these things about how she left the kids, how he has to take care of the kids, you know, you start to feel some type of way. You're like, wow, this is a really great guy, you know, being responsible for his kids. And it's quite commendable, really. And even with all the things he's telling you about the wife, how at some point you even caught her cheating, whatnot, you know, you're like,
so he caught his wife cheating at some point.
Yeah.
Was that the truth, or that was just a story to get into your pants even more?
So I had some time to reflect after the whole relationship, and even that's when I started thinking about it, that no woman leaves their kids, you know. So all these things, I mean, now I take them with a pinch of salt. But back then, oh my God, I was lapping them up. I'm like, oh my God, what kind of woman is she?
Wow. So he's feeding you all of the stuff that you're lapping up, and then you're starting to see yourself in that position. And we're kind of saying, I wouldn't treat you like that.
No, I wasn't.
You never did?
I in my head, I'm just like, because you know how in them, women, we're supposed to be looked at in some way. You can't cheat on your husband, you know, which is saying much considering our relationship.
Was something like that.
But you can't cheat on your husband, you know. So I'm like, yeah, what kind of woman is she? She's horrible. So, you know, you feel sorry for them. You know, nobody has to go through something like that.
Yeah.
Male or female. No one deserves to be abused. No one physically, verbally, no one deserves it. You know. But then I kind of feel like all that was him, I don't know if grooming is the right word, but then making me feel sorry for him, so that I can be more accepting of some things he would do, some things he would say, you know, because you know where he's coming from. Because he's got that background of, you know, the abuse.
The grooming does sound like the right word.
Yeah. And also remember, this is somebody who's taking care of me financially. And I'm a student as well. I'm a student as well.
Yeah.
So our arrangement was he would be paying my rentals, he would be the bulk of my groceries, you know, he was covering that.
And for him, he would have, what did he want out of it? Because you've been clear what you wanted. You wanted to be taken care of.
Yes. So
what did he want out of it?
When we had the conversation, he said he wanted companionship, somebody he could talk to, like a friend, But then he didn't want that with the romantic love type situation
He just
where
wanted
you.
a friend who
he
he
just
could
wanted
have
the
sex with.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, leave the feelings and the
stress.
strings in the cupboard.
Exactly.
Okay, lock them
so
up.
he
Okay.
just wanted somewhere to
Yeah.
de-stress or
Yeah, okay.
something. I
okay,
guess.
no, yeah, this is making sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our arrangement. So, and I'm pretty good at conversations. We can talk about anything, you know. I'm good at listening. If you want to come and rant to me, it's okay. Come through, you know. So yeah, I guess that's why it was working, because he's keeping up his end of the deal. I'm keeping up my end of the deal. And the funny thing is, we didn't even have that much sex, you know. We didn't.
Which would have been good for you.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
But then, because I had it, I had a taste.
You know, there's a saying that says you don't miss what you don't know.
Exactly.
So if you hadn't known, if you hadn't tasted, you'd have been fine.
I would have.
So
I
what-
would have.
so what-
Or if it had been horrible,
Yeah,
I'll just be like,
exactly.
oh my God, not again.
So this now puts you in a difficult position in the sense that, okay, so you were getting what you originally wanted, which was a blessed taking care of you financially, but because you tasted these waters,
The cherry on top.
so you now wanted even that.
Cherry.
So was it a problem that you weren't getting as much of that as you wanted?
Oh, no, not really.
Yeah.
Because also at the time, I guess I was also kind of still, trying to discover myself, sexually, whatever. So it's not like I really knew what sex was about. And I knew that sex was nice.
That one.
That sex was
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Yeah. So, but it really wasn't an issue. So we pushed 2, 3, 4 months. We're cool. We're okay. This arrangement started. It was 2018 in May. Yeah, that's when we started. So June we're fine. July we're fine. August I moved back to school. He pays the rent. When we started, I wasn't staying. I wasn't renting. I was commuting from home.
Yeah.
So even he appreciated the strain of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So August we went back to school. He paid the rent. He got the groceries. And we were fine. And now I was staying a street away from where he worked.
Mad.
Yeah. One day, I was walking to the shops. So the house I was staying at, right next door was a house for boys. The one I stayed at was strictly girls. The one next door. So I guess the landlord just didn't want us to mix in that way.
Yeah.
So the boys stayed next door. We stayed at the other house.
Right.
So I'm walking to the shops. I bump into one of the guys from the house next door. Yeah.
Tadiwa. Yeah, what?
We really were just walking and talking. But he saw me.
When you say we were just walking, who's we?
Me and the guy from next door.
So okay, so
he was renting also. He was a student as well.
So you and the guy from next door are walking, and then
going to the shops.
and then Banguza saw you.
Banguza sees us. The funny thing is, I saw him. He saw me. So this is me thinking, he's gonna stop. He drove past us. In my head, I'm like, ish. I didn't think much about it. Say, okay, maybe he didn't see me. We went, came back. Unfortunately, I had also left my phone.
What are the chances, though?
When everything could go wrong, goes wrong.
Yeah.
That was it. I had left my phone. So I get back. He had tried calling.
How many times?
There were about 6 or so missed calls.
Lord have mercy.
There's messages now.
What are the messages saying?
So I pay your rent.
Oh.
But these ones are the ones who you stay with. I pay your rent so that you'll be taking strolls with random niggas. I take care of you so that these totally absurd stuff. Absurd to me anyway. Because I'm like, okay, how did we get here?
Well, I don't know if it would be absurd. You got there because he's seen you walking with another man. That's how he got there. And that's how he's asking those questions. So he's actually looking for answers.
So he couldn't have he couldn't have said, hi, Tadiwa. I saw you. Actually, he couldn't have stopped and said, hi. I honestly would have introduced him because this is just a neighbor. Literally, just a neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not hiding. If I was hiding something, you wouldn't have seen me in the street with him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So if it was that, he would have stopped if he wanted to know, instead of driving and then sending me messages. So he thought I was ignoring his calls.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Then, because the missed calls were all before the messages.
So he obviously didn't believe that you left your phone, did he?
He didn't. He really didn't. So he then came after work. And
what does that mean? You're put in front of a judicial system,
but with just him.
It was like you're about to say a Sanhedrin court. Wow, I haven't heard that in years. Jeez.
You know, with just him though. So why would you leave your phone? Well, because I was really just going to the shops. The shops are a 10-minute walk. So if I walk 10 minutes to 10 minutes back home, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably 10 minutes in the shop. So I knew I was going to be away for like 30 minutes. Yeah. You should have told me you were going to leave your phone. Like,
you left it accidentally. You know, like you didn't intend on leaving it.
Exactly. It's not like I was leaving it because I was hiding something, you know. Because I was like, it's just a quick in and out. But yeah, that was the first time I was like, okay, this overprotectiveness, it's not cute. Like it's really not cute. We moved on from that. Then one time, it was around October, he went to Nyanga for a work retreat thing, whatever. He went on a Monday. Then when he was there, he calls me and he's talking about, oh my goodness, this place is so lovely. I want you to come through. What? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I'm at school.
Yeah.
So I don't have no parentals to be saying, hi, so can I please go? The parentals know the child is at school.
Well, they hope the child is at school.
So the plan was for me to go on Thursday and we come back together on Saturday. He even told me he would get, because one of the drivers from his workplace were going to follow to pick up some of the other guys who had been dropped off by the company car or whatever. Yeah. So he said the guy would come pick me up on Thursday. Yeah. So Thursday comes. In the morning, he's MIA. I'm like, okay. How far? Afternoon, I've come back from school. You know, I'm now all ready. Fortunately, I hadn't told anyone about this.
About this gang, this arrangement.
Yeah, and about the trip to Because he was literally nowhere. WhatsApp, one tick. Calls, not going through. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. It's okay. He can do whatever he's doing. And then this is Thursday. Friday, he's still quiet. So I'm not one who goes to worst case scenario. In my head, I'm like, okay, is everything okay? Because also he's asthmatic. So before that, there had been 2 occasions where he had terrible attacks and then had to be hospitalized. One of the 2 occasions, I was with him and I had to drive him to the hospital. So in my head, I'm now thinking, are there even hospitals in Nyanga? What if something has gone wrong? You know,
Yeah.
you get worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was when I realized that those strings, the ones I locked up, yeah, they somehow escaped.
Jailbreak, and they came through. They connected with
That
you.
was when I was like, yeah,
Mm.
I'm feeling something for this guy. You know. And then, so he then popped up on Sunday, say, I'm sorry, something came up. And I was like, whatever, it's okay. Our arrangement doesn't
It doesn't allow for you to explain yourself.
Exactly. I'm
Okay.
like, no, it's all right. It's
Yeah.
all right. We'll do it some other time, whatever,
Mhm.
you know. Then sometime again in October, I remember this because it was before my parents' anniversary.
Mm.
He came and we were sitting in the car, we're talking, you know. Then he's like, I have a confession. I'm like, what's up? Like, you know, I remember when we started this whole thing, we talked about it being, you know, purely transactional.
Mhm.
But then I'm starting to feel
A little something.
some type of way for you, you know, and I'm afraid it's deep. I mean, you know, whatever, you know, whatever you're feeling, just try to, you know, control it. I didn't tell him.
Ooh.
I didn't. Because I was like, no, one of us has to keep their head above water.
Right.
I didn't tell him. And he's like, yeah, you know, I've been struggling this whole time. Because I knew from the very first day we spoke
Mhm.
that this was going to be trouble. Because we just clicked and I was like, yeah, I don't know. You're imagining things.
You really kept it in check, eh?
I did. Because I knew, one, there's a woman out there.
Mm.
They're on separation, but what if they work things out?
Yeah.
And then I admit, because the moment both of you admit to feeling something, then,
Yeah.
yeah. So at least if one of us stays in denial and I'm like, no, you know, I don't know what you're talking about. At least if it goes that way, he will be able to just move on, you know, saying, you know, she never felt anything for me. So let me just move on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that separation sometime in November turned into divorce proceedings or whatever. They just could not work things out.
Yeah.
So they started the divorce stuff. The lady, he says that she said she didn't want anything. Nothing. All she wanted was to break free. She wanted to go. She didn't want him in her life anymore. The kids, whenever he wanted to give her, that's when she could have them. She wasn't bothered.
This is wild, though.
Yeah. So the kids, there was the I think 13, 14, 15-year-old, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Another one who was 8, and then a little boy. He was just before he turned 3 years old.
Wow. Yeah,
So in my head, I'm thinking, this woman, she's evil. Who leaves a 3-year-old with the dad? Like, so to me, this woman,
Yeah.
she's terrible. She's really terrible. And I'm understanding him. You know, even I remember at some point it was some mild depression that he went through, you know, and you're really feeling for him, you know, even looking for therapists for him.
This was very real, man.
It really was, because from what I could see, from what he was showing me, he was going through it. He was really going through it. You know, having to juggle work, the kids up at the Form 2 one. She was very naughty at school. So randomly getting calls at work.
Yeah.
Come to school, your daughter has done it again. So I was really feeling it for him. Then the semester ends, I go back home. So I'm now at home. He is here in town. We can't see each other as often as we would like to, you know. Then he somehow gets it into his head that I'm cheating on him.
You?
Yeah. So when we did agree on this arrangement, he
Yeah.
wanted it to be quite exclusive because he's like, we were doing protected sex, but then he's like, you know, I'll be going down on you, so I don't want to be going down on you. Then come back up with cauliflower on my lip. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I get it though.
Yeah. So we had agreed for it to be exclusive.
Yeah. Mhm.
So to that point, I really hadn't even been thinking of entertaining because I was busy with school as well. So I had never really thought of entertaining anybody else. That's when he decides to bring back up that guy.
Oh, that dude. Hey.
Because does it make sense? How do you just leave without your phone? I'm like, dude, you're talking about something from 2-3 months ago.
You got hung up on it.
Yeah. So in my head, I understood because I'm like, he said his wife cheated on him, so maybe he's
maybe he's got
that trauma.
Yeah. And maybe he's got trust issues now.
Exactly. So I understood him, and you know, you really try to explain to him, to show him, dude, I'm here. You know, I'm here. I'm not looking at anybody else. At the time, I didn't even have passcodes on my phone.
Yeah.
And when we'd be together, my phone, I could, there was a time he even drove me, I was running some errands, and he drove me, and I even left my phone in his car. It really just left it there. I don't know if he went through it or what, I don't know, because I had nothing to hide.
Yeah.
I had nothing to hide. So one time, we went out for lunch and then we bumped into a friend of mine.
A guy?
A girl. She was with her boyfriend. Then another time, we bumped into the same friend. A different guy.
So he would remember her and then notice there are two different guys, but because you guys are friends, is now assuming birds of a feather flock together. So you have some other guy also.
Exactly. And also his issue was you didn't even seem surprised when she was introducing that guy to you as her boyfriend. So to me, this seems like it's normal to you. So you guys will be introducing each other to every new guy. I'm certain last weekend when we were not together, probably you were with someone else. And if you bumped into her, you introduced him. I'm like,
and she wouldn't have a problem because you guys do the same thing.
Like, no, you know? Try to explain. At some point, he even asked for my Facebook login, my Instagram login, just so he could check.
And you gave him?
Yeah, I gave him.
Why?
I didn't have anything to hide. There was nothing, no skeletons in my closet, nothing. Because it wasn't a real relationship, but then this was probably my first real relationship. Yeah, this was the first real guy in my life, you know. So I had nothing to hide. There was no one in my DMs who could pose a threat.
Yeah.
Or whose conversations with could seem like they were leaning in that direction. So I'm like, you can have them. There you go. Do you want my email as well?
So what was his reaction when he found nothing?
He was angry.
Angry at what? At finding nothing?
At me, yes, because I was in there deleting things before I gave him my logins, and I was telling my people not to message me because I knew he was going to be logged in.
Yeah.
And like, you know what? I am certain if I have a boyfriend there, 2 days, days won't pass without us talking. So stay logged in. Yeah, I told him. I was like, stay logged in. can monitor everything, comments on my posts.
But it's interesting that you guys were not doing all of this stuff. At least he admitted to catching feelings, right? And he's exhibiting the traits of a jealous guy with trust issues, right? So he's been transparent about where he is, and his behavior is proving that. But you allowing him to go through your stuff, I know you say it's to prove that you had nothing to hide. You're doing a lot for someone who shouldn't have strings.
No, this was I already had strings, right? But I just hadn't admitted to him.
So for someone who's choosing not to admit because you say somebody has to be in control.
Yeah, so yeah, well,
you're not really doing stuff for someone who's in control.
Once you catch feelings, there's no control, honestly. There is no control. So
you're admitting it to him that you have feelings without saying
anything. Yeah. Because I also needed this to work. You know, I also needed this to work. So I needed him to trust me.
For what reason now? For the continued blessing things or for the prospects of a healthy relationship? Because y'all are now sounding like you're in a relationship now.
Yeah, now I don't know how to answer that. Whether it was for our arrangement or for the relationship, that was, I don't know.
Whatever it was, you just needed it to work. I
needed it to work, you know, because you become so attached, and because this is somebody you've been so understanding, and they've been going through the most, and you've been so understanding. Yeah. Yeah. So one time, we were doing some school stuff. So I came back late. I had told him, like, so as now, I think February, March of 2019. I had told him I was going to come back home late because I had to finish this up, you know. He seemed to understand when I told him. But then I got back and he was parked outside the boarding house I used to stay at. I'm excited. I'm like, oh my God, hi. How are you? How was your day?
Yeah.
I see the mood.
So the mood is not reciprocated.
Yeah, that was the first time he slapped me in the car. Because I got there, I got into the car and he slapped me. I go, okay, what's this about? Where have you been? It's almost 6:30 p.m. And
6:30. It was 6:30 p.m.
It was 6:30 p.m. in February or March. It wasn't even dark. It was not even dark.
Wow.
So he had been waiting for me since around 4 p.m. when he finished work. So you remember I told you he was like a street away. So he could literally just drive. It's 2-minute drive to the house. So he finished his work at 4. Probably was by my place maybe by 4:20. Yeah. I get there around 6:30 and...
But you had the courtesy to tell him.
I told him in the morning.
Yeah, you know,
in the morning.
That I'm going to be running late. So...
So to him, that was just me covering my ass. Yeah, so that when I get busy, wherever I am, you know, I have an allowance. Yeah, I have an alibi. I told you I was going to be doing this, you know. So he was really angry. He shouted at me. He called me all sorts of names. I allowed it because I'm like, you know what? Due to the nature of this whole arrangement, I guess he's justified in thinking maybe there's more than one of him. Maybe there's somebody else. I felt, I understood him, honestly. I really did.
But what would justify the physical abuse?
I guess, I don't know, the anger. The anger. It wasn't bad. It was just a slap.
It's never just a slap. It's physical contact. It's physical unwanted contact.
You know, I always say, we're adults. We can talk. You can tell me what the problem is without hitting me. You know, I can say that now, but back then it was just a slap. Yeah, it was just a slap.
Was it a painful slap?
A very painful slap. The kind of slap that has your ear ringing. But I say,
you described it as the first time
yeah,
he beat you up.
yeah.
Was there a second?
And the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and
Okay, so I hate to say this, but let's say the first one was justified. It was just a slap. It was okay. Surely it's not the same for the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and whatever.
it wasn't.
So at what point would it stop just being a slap? In your mind, at what point was it going to ring to say, hey, I'm being physically
So
abused
the
here?
first time it was just a slap.
And
The first time.
oh God.
Yeah.
And the second?
The second time. The second time I went to the police. I made the report.
But what was it?
He hit me. Like he hit me with a belt. Do you know how degrading it is for a grown man to take off his belt and hit you, a grown I was in pain. So, because while he was hitting me, he was pushing me about, and I just felt, no, this needs to stop, because also we're in the feminism days, I'm like, I need to report this. I went to the police. So the second time it happened at his house. So I literally took his car, drove to the police station, and the police, where is him? They're like, yeah, so for us to arrest him, we don't have a car here, so you're going to need to drive us so that we can.
So you took his car to report him to the police, and you come back with the police.
With the police, back to his house. Because that weekend, the kids were at his mom. So we had the house to ourselves. So I came back with the police. And yeah, they talked.
Jesus.
They talked. And he gave them cab money. They got a taxi back to the station. And he hit me again.
I'm surprised you have a chuckle about this.
Yeah, because that's the only way I can deal. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. I'm better off laughing. He hit me again, and then, because after being hit, no one wants to have sex. But we had sex. God.
That and stop me if it's too much. That doesn't sound like it was consensual sex, because you've just been hit.
It wasn't.
And nobody wants to have sex once they've been hit.
It wasn't. Because he had to force me. And I knew no one was going to help me. Because this is us at his house. Just two of us. And, with the sizes of these stands and houses,
Nobody would hear.
Nobody would hear. So even if I scream, even if I shout, and if I run out, where am I going to go to? With what? Because when he gave the police guys the money to go, he took his car keys and locked them in his study. And then I didn't notice where he put the keys to the study. So this is me at night in Strathaven, and the boarding house is in Mount Pleasant. During the daytime, it's a walkable distance, really. Probably an hour or even less walking. During the day, you can do that. But at night, you can't even call a cab.
What went through your mind the moment you realized you're in this situation which is dangerous?
So when I was in grade 5, the same thing happened. So when this was happening, I was reliving that all over again. So I was 20, but I'm telling you, I felt 10 years old when this was happening. I felt so small, so helpless. Yeah, and when he finished, he locked me in the bedroom, and I'm assuming he went to sleep in one of the other bedrooms. You know, I don't know, but then there's a time where you bath. You want to wash it all off you. Because also at the time I'm like, yeah, this is not rape, because we've been in a sexual relationship this whole time. Like before before he hit me, we got into an argument and he hit me. We had sex, so it's not rape. Then it just didn't feel right. What kind of sex is this that has me feeling so disgusted with myself afterwards? You know, and in my head I'm like, yeah, no. Nothing is worth this. No amount of money is worth this.
This is what you said to yourself after.
After that, as I was scrubbing myself, and that must have been also the hottest shower I ever took. You know, because I don't even remember turning on the cold water. Just turn on the hot water. And it was so hot. I was like, I need to wash this off me, to wash this feeling off me. You know, now I was thinking as well. Then I don't think I slept. I don't know. I don't think I slept. Because the whole night I was also judging myself. Like, but then I'm so stupid. Because these are the things, we hear about these things every day. Girls putting themselves in situations like this. I have allowed this man to control my life to this extent, where he can even force himself on me. Even after he's bittered me up, now he wants to force me to have sex with him. I have put myself in this situation. In the morning, I'm going to go back to the boarding house. I'm going to pack my bags. I'm going to go back home to my parents. Tell them this is what happened, and apologize to my parents for doing this to them. Because by allowing him to do this to me, he's doing it to my parents. In the morning, when the sun was up, he came, he started crying on his knees, begging for forgiveness.
When he did all of this, was he drunk? Was he drinking?
Very
he was very
sober. Very, very sober.
So when he came apologizing, he's obviously apologizing for what he's done. But is he also explaining
why?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that it justifies. This, for me, this is just an FYI. Nothing would ever justify.
Wait for the reason. It was you.
It was
you triggered me.
You
know what I went through with my ex-wife. That time I saw you with that guy. I'm like, dude, you're still bringing up that guy. When you're giving me your logins, sometimes I see notifications. Then when I open, there is nothing. So this means you're deleting. I'm like, no. If a message notification pops up on your phone, if I open the message, surely the notification will probably disappear. Because like when I open the Facebook application, there is no number of messages on your messenger thingy. So that means you don't. I'm like, do you even bother to open that messenger application so that you check what messages are there? No, it's your fault. You know exactly what triggers me, but you're doing it. I'm like, huh? What does that mean? What do you mean I'm triggering you? Last night, you literally started hitting me for no reason. He had hit me because I put sugar instead of honey in his tea. That was why he hit me the previous night. When I then went to the police, he took off his belt to hit me for putting sugar instead of honey.
Wow.
Yeah. So he says, I was already stressed because I had been thinking about that the whole time, knowing that you are busy gallivanting with guys your age on campus. What no. I'm like, but then even if I were to gallivant with guys my age on campus, it's not like there is anything here that we don't have a future here.
Mm.
You're going to help me until we both agree that it's okay and we both move on. So is it so bad for me to get to know other people or to even talk to them, even innocently? No, I want you all to myself because I can't have the same thing happening. If you are to move on after we've broken up, it's fine. But for now, I want you all to myself. But then, when has there ever been a time that you could actually substantially say, Kuti, this is the reason why I saw you with this guy doing this? There has never been a time. But yeah, he wasn't having any of that. It was all my fault. I was the reason. Yeah, okay, cool. It's fine. He apologized. He said, you know what? I want to make it up to you. I'm so sorry. I want you to really understand how sorry I am. Yeah, you know what, whatever. I asked him, I was like, you know what? I need some space. I want to go back to the boarding house. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. You can take my car. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to take your car. And I think for him, maybe he felt my refusing to take the car meant that I was walking away. Which, when I was talking about going, was what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? I need to be out of this space. Then maybe call him later and just break this off.
Yeah.
I left. I went. He dropped me off. He went back. He sends me a message. Says, I hope your leaving wasn't the end of our relationship. I was like, now you want to talk calmly. Okay. Told him, I was like, you know what? I feel like this whole thing of you hitting me, no, I have, I also have limits. That time you slapped me, it was fine. But now you can't take off your belt to hit me. I don't think you would even take off your belt to hit your own kid. Yeah. So why are you doing that with me? Explains again. No, it was just because I lost it for a second because it took me back to when I was not in control. Well, what he explained, I don't even remember how I was battered up, and then he came back and then we went for lunch. And maybe not forgiven or even not forgotten, but then it was behind
pushed to the
us.
side, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, please just don't ever do that again. Well, I won't. Sorry. So sorry about that.
Did you realize by this point you guys are in a full-blown relationship?
Yeah. So we got into a relationship without ever acknowledging that we were in a relationship. The next week, on a Thursday, he tells me, I hope your weekend is free. I've made plans. I'm like, oh, okay. What's up? He's like, yeah, let's go to Vic Falls. All right. Oh,
okay.
Why? Remember I told you I was going to make it up to you, so this is my way of saying sorry. I was like, yeah, I would take the sorry if you weren't coming with me. I feel like this is just a getaway for you to be able to have a lot of sex with me there.
Yeah.
And he says, no, that's not it. We're really just going, I want you to relax, to have a good time. Okay, cool, whatever. We went to Vic Falls for the weekend. And yeah, it was really nice. No lie. It was really nice. And he was really trying. Because I guess I think maybe he was afraid that I would call him out for forcing me, or maybe...
To who? To the police or...
how could I go to the police?
I mean, you said you think you might have been afraid you would call him out. To his friends?
To my friends,
to
maybe.
your friends. Okay,
yeah. Because the friend of mine, the one we had bumped into before,
Yeah.
he didn't quite like her. And at the time, she and I were pretty close. So he was always trying to get me. So I think that's also why he would always try to spend a lot of time with me.
So that you're not
so
with
that
her.
I'm not, yeah. So he would always try to spend a lot of time with me, and we would, the whole time I'm with her, he's on the phone with me.
Aye.
So what are you guys up to now?
Aye.
Where are you guys going? Well. So I never really, besides us chatting on the phone, of which he would go through those messages to just try and see what was going on. And in some of those messages, she had actually pointed that out. That what's wrong with this guy? Why is he always looking for you when you're with me, when we're chilling together? What? I don't like that. It's as if he's overprotective on steroids, you know.
So when your friend is saying this and he's reading this, it's fueling the dislike for her.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so I guess when it was like some compensation of sorts. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to compensate for that whole incident the previous weekend. We went to Vic Falls. It was really nice, you know. And the entire weekend, no sex, nothing. Did
you want some?
No, he actually said, he's like, you know what? I want you to really relax. Just chill, relax, sit in the sun, swim, whatever. You know. Then we came back and things were now flowing pretty well. And then at some point we said our first I love yous, you know.
How did we get here? Mad.
But then he never quite trusted me, you know. He's always insinuating that I'm up to something.
Yeah.
And the third time, well, guess the fourth time, but the third incident where he was physical with me. I don't know why, but he came to the university. And when he came, because he knew what program I was doing, he knew his way around the university, so he literally just came straight to our department. And you know, with these Zim university, there isn't much security, so anyone can come and go as they please. You know, as long as you know your way around, you can literally do anything. So he came to the department, was looking for me in like their lecture theaters. He couldn't find me in any of those. I was in the library, the department library, with some guys. My program, it's male dominated.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my class, there were 3 girls. The rest were guys. So chances of me studying with guys would be pretty high.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Pretty high. And even like when the lecturers are grouping you up, there is no way they're going to say, so the 3 girls are in this group.
Yeah, it's going to be one
girl in each group.
Yeah.
You see.
Did he find you in the library?
He did. With a whole group of guys. And school is not that serious. Hey, you talk, you laugh. So when he got in, we're having a good time. We're laughing. He walked in. So I had my back to the door.
Yeah.
So these guys, they didn't know him. My classmates didn't know him. So they saw him. They're like, good afternoon. Can we help you with anything? He's like, no, thank you. And I heard the voice. I'm like, like that's my person's voice. So for me, I was surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh, he came to surprise me.
Yeah.
Hi, babe. No, then we went into the car. We started talking. Everything was fine. Then he's like, so what time? Do you want me to pick you up? Man, you can come maybe after 2-3 hours. Probably be done. I'll just give you a text 30 minutes before we finish. You can come pick me up. Cool. He goes. Then he came back and said, you know what? My kids are at my sister's. So let's go to my place. Sure. Get to the place.
Mm.
I'm cooking, making some nice salsa, wife material type thing, making some salsa. Comes into the kitchen. He's like, the one thing I don't understand is why you guys seemed to be having so much fun. I'm like, huh? Yeah, I don't get that. I'm like, huh? Yeah, because you seemed so happy. You seemed so in your element. I've never seen you that happy, even with me. I'm like, yes. Huh?
But now are you starting to see,
Yeah.
this is okay.
So now I wasn't sure how to act because I didn't know what actions were going to trigger him. And I wasn't trying to be beaten again.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying. But then, well, I guess whatever response I would have given.
Would have landed you in trouble anyway.
Yeah, so, yeah. That time I actually not broke, but my wrist, like, to this day, when it gets cold, my wrist really hurts. I had to get a plaster.
Did the people doing the plaster ask what happened?
So we went to a private hospital, and I'm thinking maybe they're used to it. Because
Nobody asked anything.
yeah. And they fixed me right up. And again, I was very sorry. This time he had to travel to New York. So before he left, he told me, he's like, I booked a room for you at Mikkel's Hotel. I want you to go spend the weekend there, just relaxing away from your roommates, from everyone, just chill, breathe, everything, whatever. He left me a lot of money. It's like, whatever you need. Asked me to drive him to the airport. I did. He's like, you can use the car when I'm away. I'm like, okay. I don't know how, because I've got one hand, but it was an automatic, so kind of worked. I worked my way around it. And when I was alone at the hotel, I was really thinking, I'm like, but what am I doing here? This guy already suspects
Yeah.
that I'm cheating on him. I'm being hit for cheating, which I'm not doing. So I might as well.
Oh, jeez.
What did I do? I created another Tinder account. I went back on Tinder. Left, right, left, right, left, right. With this particularly interesting guy.
And this time all you're after was sex? Or what? Because...
I didn't have a plan.
So...
All I wanted to do was cheat.
How?
I don't know.
And was this cheating meant to happen whilst he's away or continue even after he got back? What was your plan?
I didn't have a plan. But then I just had to find somebody.
For what reason? I mean, I get you being treated as somebody who's doing it, so I
might as well.
Are you sure there wasn't more to it?
I don't know. I really don't know. But then in my head, I was justified. Because, dude, being beaten for something, you were in primary school. Being beaten for something you didn't do.
Yeah.
It's just not it. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this guy, we're probably going to come back to this point, where he hits me. So
I might as well get the beating for an
a
actual reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this whole time anyway, it's not like I wasn't even flirting or even entertaining guys who are coming with no purpose.
Mm.
If you're coming to me, it's either we're talking business, it's either we're talking school,
Mm.
or maybe your family.
Mm.
That's it. So any talk of, oh, you're looking pretty today would be met with a cold shoulder
Of course. Yeah.
because I was being faithful to this guy. So now I just needed to feel like I'm doing something that warrants
The abuse.
the abuse.
Did you find someone?
I did. We started talking to this guy.
Mm.
I was at the hotel. But then, because I didn't know now who Banguza knew at the hotel. So I was, that's why I didn't do anything while at the hotel.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Because I wasn't so sure, because
right.
this was somebody who was kind of like
Yeah.
up there,
Yeah, okay,
So
yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't know who he's told that he's
Mm.
booked a place for me here, that I'm staying here.
So keep an eye out.
Yes. So I was like, no, I'm not
Mm.
doing this here.
Mm.
So the time I then went back to the boarding house, I told this nigga, I'm like, hi, yeah, you can, if you can come through, we meet, we talk, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then this guy came
Mm-hmm.
to the boarding house. He's like, you know what? I work a street away.
Oh.
I'm like, so okay. It's a business complex.
This.
So there's several companies there.
This for me is already sounding like.
But then what are the chances of this guy working for the same company
Lord of mercy.
as Banguza?
That is mad.
What are the chances? So he was one of Banguza's subordinates at work.
Mm.
But then the moment I figured it out, because when we were talking, then we drove somewhere, and he left me in his car for a bit. So there was a cap at the back. So I took the cap. I'm like, oh, this is where Banguza works. So when this guy came back, I was like, okay, let me start asking him. And I said, oh, so where do you work? What do you do?
Mm.
And I was like, oh. So I had to come clean to this guy. I was like, you know what? I have a boyfriend, and I fear you know my boyfriend. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I think you work at the same company with my boyfriend. Like, what do you mean you think? Do you not know where your boyfriend works? I know. Like, but I told you where I work. I'm like, yeah. Because I don't know exactly how to say this, but then I think my boyfriend is your boss.
Mad.
And he just says Banguza.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. Like, serious. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, why? It's like, well, we're in a relationship where we like each other.
Mm.
It's like, after everything he did to his wife.
Mad thing. Yo.
I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
After everything, what do you mean? No. He went and took his kids back from the wife because he didn't want her staying with the kid. I'm like, huh? No, you have it wrong. The wife left the kids when they separated. Like, no. He followed, took the kids. Like, no. Because also, you feel sorry for him. I'm like, how do you know this? And he's like, no, because the wife is a friend with one of the girls at the office. So the wife was telling this friend everything. And the friend was sharing the gossip. I'm like, no, the wife is just bitter. Because do you know that she once cheated on him? Because now, all of a sudden, I'm on my man's side. Because what the heck? What the heck? I'm on my man's side. She was the problem. She was the reason. It's all her. And he's like, no, it may have been her. But then why would you be with a guy though who goes to take his kids from the wife? Like, no, because she's a problem. So now all of a sudden, he's my guy now. I have to defend him from this guy. But then, well, I don't know. At some point, we're like, whatever, stop talking about him. Got back to getting to know each other.
After all of that?
Because I was a girl on a mission. And this also kind of made it better.
How?
Because think about it. Your girl cheating on you with somebody who works under you.
Yeah. For me, that is adding paraffin and petrol and matches and grenades to a volcano.
If it's a volcano, that means all that you're adding is now
like
it's inconsequential. So what do we call this guy now?
The subordinate. Just call him the subordinate.
Subordinate, yeah. We started our thing on the side.
What do you mean your thing on your side?
Yeah, actually with this guy it was really purely sex. Honestly.
So you started just having sex on the side?
Yeah. And he was also enjoying it because Banguza was one of those bosses.
So he's busy, I'm screwing your girl.
Yeah, so I guess that gave him some consolation at work for every time he would get treated badly. He's like, whatever, man, I'm fucking your girl.
This is twisted.
So for me, every time if we have an argument or if he hits me or whatever, man, I'm fucking somebody who's under you at work. I don't care. And you're still taking care of me. So whatever.
So you felt you had nothing to lose.
Yeah. But then I feel like one thing with abuse that no one ever talks about is how at some point you start to crave
the abuse.
You start to crave the lows because the highs are so high. The compensation for that behavior it makes you feel so good. So you miss it. You miss that rush for not when you're being hit, but after the aftermath when he's now making it up to you. Because I swear, even the I'm sorry sex, that's some really nice sex. I'm telling you, it's some really, really nice sex. So you start to crave it. Now you are intentionally triggering this guy. So now I was intentionally doing things that I knew would make him feel angry, and then he would want to hit me, and then he hits me, and don't shake your head like that. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know what to say, but in the same breath, I get it. Because this is, I think, partly described in what they say, the Stockholm Syndrome, or something like that, where you fall in love with your abuser and it becomes okay, in quotes. I don't understand that stuff too much. I've only heard it at superficial level. Someone listening here obviously knows a lot better than I do.
Maybe.
But I'm shaking my head, not to say why would you do that to yourself, but it's the recognition that this is a real thing.
It is.
You know, it's one thing to read about this stuff in textbooks, and because it's described as a Stockholm Syndrome, you think it's a European issue, affecting white people out there, and it doesn't really hit home with Africans. And here I am, sat in the same room with someone describing that in person.
With Africans, you know that whole ndukugarirana thing. I'm staying for my kids. I feel like that's something similar as well. Because even some of these, I have a cousin of mine. To date, her husband hits her. But then, at first, before my relationship with this guy, I would always be like, why are you staying with him? He's hitting you. He's not taking care of you or your kids. So why are you staying with him? You know? But after that, I understood. 'Cause sometimes they may be now starting those arguments, those fights, because you miss it.
Just like
You feel like, why is he not hitting me anymore? Why is he not shouting at me anymore? Why is he not busy accusing me of cheating anymore? You know, so you want to trigger that so that it happens again. So here and there, you post a random picture with a guy from class.
My God, Tadiwa.
Yeah, and there you call a guy when you're with him. Here and there, you call your friend, start talking about her guys while you're with him.
So was this happening because now you knew you could take the beating that he was giving you? It wasn't as painful anymore because you're used to it.
It wasn't.
You've been desensitized
Also, because
to it.
I enjoyed every time would then make up, every time would then forgive each other and move on. I enjoyed that. Because this also meant I was getting trips to these nice places. I was getting money for shopping, you know?
Wow.
So you're like, whatever. He's letting off some steam and I'm getting to live a nice life.
And then on top of that, you're getting some sex on the side.
Some good sex on the side, not just sex. Some good sex on the side.
Was it better than the sex that Banguza
With
was
this-
giving you? Yeah.
No, with Banguza, the sex was great.
And with the other guy?
On the side, it was not even as good.
Eesh.
It was not even as good.
So why do it? It's still for that reason that
So
you
that's,
want.
yes.
So that
But
you can
then
say to
now, I
yourself,
could
yeah,
never tell Banguza that I'm not doing this. Every time he'll start accusing me, I'm like, but then, because I had told the subordinate guy, I told him that, dude, my relationship is my relationship. You don't mess with it. If I tell you don't text me. I'll text you first. You know, because also
Hey, this was
him
a proper,
finding
this was a proper side thing, wasn't it?
him finding out about this,
Mm.
it will probably affect you more negatively than it does me. I'll get hit and we'll move on.
You might get fired.
But you'll get fired. You know. So
Was he able to keep his mouth shut?
he was. Even I think, I don't know, but I don't think he ever found out.
So what made you guys break up then with Banguza in the end? What brought you to the end to say that this is it?
So at some point, he started talking marriage. And I met siblings, I met the mother. It was a whole thing. We even pushed for till the end of 2019. We were together.
So that's a year.
20, yeah, it was now more than a year because we had started 2018. 2020, what then made me leave? He hit me and I had scars on my back. And you know, like when you get swollen and then it starts going back down, then the scabs that come up, I had those.
What did he hit you with?
He used to hit me with a belt.
So it's still a belt.
Yeah. So I had gone home that weekend. Then my mom saw. I was coming from the bathroom from taking a shower, so I had my towel. My mom saw. She's like, "Is that on your back?" Like, no. Allergies. I think washing powder. And I said, "Oh, okay." When I was now going back to school, she said, "A man who hits you does not love you." Because no one who loves someone would want to inflict pain on them. I just laughed it off. Yeah, you're overthinking this, girl. You're overthinking it. But then I was thinking about that. the whole way back.
Of course.
And now I was starting to think about, also, I told you about my cousin, thinking about how we would feel when she would come home bruised and stuff. I'm now thinking, okay, if I left my mom feeling the same way, I was like, I can't make my mom go through that. You know?
You know, there are a couple of episodes where we've said this before. The people on the outside, especially mothers, always know.
Yeah. And I think for my mom, she knew because she had seen my sister. So I think she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back, and then one time I was asking him about lawyers. And he's like, what? Oh, I was asking about divorce lawyers. Then he's like, why are you so interested? Are you married to someone? Is there something going on that I should know about? I'm like, huh? And it becomes a whole thing. I'm like, dude, calm down. What are you talking about? No, why else would you be asking me about divorce lawyers? I've been talking about marrying you. Are you already looking for a way out?
Wow.
I'm like, that's when I was like, you know what?
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I'm done. I told him, I was like, everything, no matter what I say, what I do, you always find a way to twist it to suit whatever it
your
is
narrative.
exactly.
Yeah.
You always find a way. And then he didn't respond. Like, so you know what? Yeah, I don't think I can take any more of this. The beatings, I could take them. But then this where you, I don't know what the word is. But then questioning silly things, you want to always go to what worst case scenario every time. I'm over it. And I remember switching off my phone because that time WhatsApp had now introduced that deleting messages feature.
Right.
Yeah. So I knew if I kept the phone, I was going to delete that message. So I switched it off and I went and gave it to the lady the caretaker. I was like, could you keep my phone for me? I'll come back and get it. So I just needed the 1 hour to pass.
Yeah. Okay.
So that I wouldn't be able to delete that message anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I went back to get the phone, he had not responded. Whatever. I deleted the messages. I blocked him. I deleted his number from my phone. But then it's all worthless because I knew it by head.
Oh.
Fast forward, 2020 April, just after the lockdowns had started with the whole COVID things. Someone who had once seen me with him came to me and is like, Tadiwa, what's Banguza's surname? I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, what's Banguza's surname? I'm like, where is this coming from? He's like, just tell me. I'm like, no, come with your full story and we can talk about this. Then he explains how he was talking to somebody and she had sent him a screenshot, and on like the wallpaper, it was her and him. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. He said, yeah, but then now this girl, because I think he had reacted some type of way when she sent him the screenshot. So she now wanted to know who I was and whether it was. I was like, you know what? I don't know, man. You deal with your stuff. If you want information from me, you find out from him what his surname is and I'll confirm.
Don't come my way with your stuff. Yeah.
And I'll
don't
confirm.
come fishing.
Yeah. Then he went. So the surname now, let's say his surname is Tona. But then this girl said the surname is Tone.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, this is too much of a coincidence.
Okay.
And it's also one of those surnames that's not popular. It's unlike the Dubes, Nubes, whatever, the
Yeah.
popular surname, the Moyo. It's not.
Mhm.
So I was like, it's too much of a coincidence to also share the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy had recognized his face.
Mhm.
Like, nah. So I was like, no, tell me what's going on now. Now I was invested.
No,
Like, tell me
Now you want to know
what's going on.
Mm.
And then so he's like, these guys have been dating since last year.
Mad thing.
I'm like, what do you mean
Aye.
since last year? We broke up in January. He's like, yeah, she said they've been dating since like October last year. Like, so this whole time, this nigga was hitting me for cheating on me. Yet he was cheating on me. I was angry.
Wow. That sounds like he was cheating with you
So
on the other girl.
no,
No?
we had been since 2018, remember?
So she
Then
was
she
fresh.
came along, yeah.
So yeah, so he was cheating on you.
So
with
I
her.
was angry. Remember, I told you we can delete from the phone, but not from the head.
So you rung him up.
I sent him a message. It's like, so I was like, hi, how are you? Like, I'm good. How are you? I'm okay. Could I ask you a question? Like, sure, go ahead. So did you meet what can we call her? New girl
Mm.
on Tinder as well. Because there had been a time in our relationship
Mhm.
when that friend of mine, the one with the many boyfriends, had seen him on Tinder during that relationship, sometime in early 2019. She had seen him on, and she had told me, she's like, dude, isn't this your boyfriend? Then when I had confronted him, he had been like,
He had a story.
Exactly.
You remember how we can always shift the narrative to suit him.
Exactly. I was kind of feeling disconnected from you, so I felt if I could, I'm like, so that time we just brushed it off and it went away. That was it. So I asked him, I was like, so did you meet new girl on Tinder? Then he's like, I don't want to talk about that. It's like, okay, thank you. I deleted his number. Then, so I am not sure. This new girl also, they had their stories. I don't know whether she had been on Tinder or what. I don't know. And then she comes back to the guy. She's like, please tell me, because the other thing, I forgot. I knew new girl. I knew her. I have a small business of mine. She had been a client before.
Mad.
She didn't know my boyfriend.
So your client was screwing your dude.
Exactly. She didn't know him. Like no one really knew him. You know, besides few family members who'd met him, a few friends or people who had bumped into us. So I can say she didn't date him to spite me. I can say that because she didn't know him.
Yeah.
You know. But then I knew her. Harare is one
One
big bedroom.
I remember saying that on my status that I hear Harare is one big bedroom. It's starting to sound a little bit like that.
So I had her number. She had mine. So the guy now was like, the guy who had come to me originally with the whole story. I was like, no, you know what? Who is it? You tell me first, then I can see if I want to talk to this person. He's like, you actually know the person. I'm like, what do you mean I know the person? Because also, before she became, okay, maybe at some point when she was my client, we were also at university, at the same university, and church circles as well, you know. So he's like, it's new girl. I'm like, huh?
What? So
I'm
picked up the phone.
okay. So I'm not pretty like that, but new girl is not pretty at all. So I was like, why would he cheat on me with her? I would understand him cheating on me with a hot, pretty, you know, girl.
Yeah.
But you can't cheat on me with somebody who everyone says is not good looking. What's that?
What's that about? Yeah.
But anyway, I was just like, whatever. I was like, you know what? It's okay. You can tell her it's me. Then she came to me. She's like, dude, what did you say to him about me on Tinder? I'm like, what? You on Tinder, huh? He's like, yeah, because apparently I think she had been on Tinder. I don't know how he had found out. I think maybe his friend or something had told him that your girl, or maybe he was still
But there
on
was some
Tinder.
mess about Tinder.
Maybe he was still there.
Mm.
So he had found out that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a fight about it a few days before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I come to him saying, did you meet new girl on Tinder?
And then now he goes to...
So I'm like, no. Then actually, because I hadn't deleted the messages. I just deleted his number and deleted the messages. So I just took a screenshot of our very short conversation and I sent it to her. I was like, this is all I spoke about with him. Then, she started trying to dig. Why did you guys break up? So I kind of feel like maybe she was now in the same situation that I was in.
Easily would have been,
but then I was like, no, you know what? People can change. Maybe he's changed. Because at some point towards the end of our relationship also, he was now doing therapy. So I'm like, maybe it's working. Maybe he's changed. So I was like, no, if you want to know why we broke up, go ask him. He's the one you're in a relationship with. You can't come to me digging for information because now you're going to see him through my eyes, which I don't think is a good thing for any relationship. She starts asking me, did you know how old he was when you guys started dating? I'm like, yeah, I knew. She's like, so when you guys started, what was the... I was like, dude.
It's a lot of questions.
Exactly.
You know.
Do your thing with your guy. Do your damage control if you need to, whatever. So at some point in our relationship, we had argued. And then I had stopped talking to him. I even blocked him sometime. Then a new number had messaged me. And the person, whoever it was, whether it was him or what, I don't know, was insulting me, calling me names, whatnot. So I didn't respond to this person. I went straight to him because the person was like, you don't deserve him. Whatever, he's too good a man for you, whatever. I'm like,
And you only
I went to him when this had happened. I went straight to him. I'm like, dude, if you have something to say to me, say it. Don't send people to me. You know? And I feel, sometimes I think like it was him and he wanted a way back in to start the conversation with me again.
Yeah.
You know? So now this girl, so when this whole fiasco happened, the guy then ended up messaging me again on my other number. He's like, because I think he thought I had blocked him when I deleted his number. So I've got 2 lines, one for my business and one a personal one. So I had messaged him with the business one. Then he messaged on the personal because he had both my numbers. I'd been in a relationship. He's talking about, hey, you know how things on social media can get nasty. What? Please be mindful of the things you're saying to your guy. His focus was on this guy. I was like, dude, when I spoke to you, that was it. I never said anything after that.
Yeah.
You know. So then some months later, then I had, for some reason, I had deactivated it was during the COVID times. I had deactivated my business because it was just too much.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Then the girl called me. She's like, Tadiwa, have you been calling me and sending me weird messages? I'm like, huh?
Like, no.
She sends me screenshots of messages from a number from Namibia. I'm like, bruh. COVID, 1. 2. Why would I even, bruh, I'm not even that bothered. So this person was messaging her, asking her, are you prepared to be a stepmother to...
What?
No, I prepared to be a stepmother to his 3 children. Hey, this and that, what, no, what? And I'm like, bruh. Then I remembered my situation where this had happened before to me. Yeah. I was like, something similar happened to me before. And I feel like maybe it's him. She's like, no, the first time it happened, he told me it's you. So this guy also didn't know that the girl and I knew each other and we had talked. He didn't know that. So now he was telling her all sorts of things about me. All sorts of things about me.
Which were not true because now you guys could reflect and talk.
You remember I told you about the whole grade 5 thing?
Yeah.
He told her that I had been in a relationship with the man who raped me. He was the headmaster at the primary school I went to. He told this girl that I had been in a relationship
with the headmaster,
with this man at grade 5. And we were having sex, right? And that he killed himself the guy killed himself after we were found out. I'm like, wow. This girl now also, she was being kind of nasty because these things she didn't tell them to me directly. She was posting them.
Come on now.
On her Facebook. I asked a few mutual friends. I'm like, can you see new girls' Facebook stories? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, so they're being posted probably just for me or me and a few other people. I don't know. Up to now, I don't know. I never asked her. Say, I just blocked her from my Facebook, blocked her from my phone, like literally just cut her off as well. And but then I'm telling you, that time when I was seeing those things he was saying about me, I really, really wanted to call him and ask. To this day, I think about it. I'm like, what is it that I did to you?
He's just a psycho.
And I started thinking about it. All those things he'll tell me about the ex-wife, how she was. Like, how can you be the victim every time?
Yeah, control mechanisms. Because
how can you be the victim every time?
Apparently, that's one of the traits of somebody who is both physically and emotionally abusive and financially abusive. It's like you have every version of abuse possible. You know, they seek empathy by playing the victim.
Yeah.
Once they have you hooked in, they see how far they can push the button and how much you need to be compensated for you to reset the button and get it back to normal.
That's it. That's exactly what was happening.
So was this third number another woman from Namibia?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I stopped talking to this girl. I was like, this is also some drama I don't need in my life, because this girl is also known for being dramatic and weird. So I was like, I don't need this drama in my life. I'm out. Wait. Rewind. January 2020. Actually, it's now in February. So you know how when you're in a relationship, sometimes you share intimate pictures.
Oh God.
Does this man not go and create a Tinder? Fortunately, didn't have my face on it. I'm smart. We don't send nudes with faces. It didn't have my face on it. But then, I don't know also. I also think it was him. Because after this was posted up, somebody sent me a screenshot. And if I had kept the number that messaged me that time, maybe I would have checked if it wasn't the same number. They sent me a screenshot of that. And they say, Tadiwa with my surname. Is this not you? Like, huh? And it was me. 'Cause, I mean, you would recognize yourself anyway.
That's crazy.
So I was like, I didn't confront him about it because he was the only one who had ever sent those pictures to.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So that time in February, I'd been like, whatever. Then this whole April stuff happened. And then the girl then came back asking me if I'd been messaging. I'm like, bruh, why would I be messaging you? What do I gain
it's
from?
Too messy, yeah.
So she said she got messages from the Namibian number. She got messages from a South African number. Then she had started getting messages from a Zim number.
Mad.
I'm like, okay. The Zim number, I would understand if you thought it was me. Because I can easily go and buy a new SIM card.
But all of these other
South
ones?
African, Namibian.
It's a lot.
We are under lockdown.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And that time, there were still travel restrictions. So I couldn't, for the life of me, travel to SA, get a SIM card. And so I was just like, hey, whatever. And even the things he was telling her about me, I never found it in me to even want to clarify to her. Or even to ask her, why are you posting these things? What are you gaining from posting these things? Because it doesn't make sense. He's telling you these things about me, okay. Or maybe I feel Pamwe, she was telling me so that she could show me that she knew.
She knew, yeah.
But then, what's the point if everything you're being told is lies?
So when did you last speak to this guy?
That time in April.
And that was it. Were you still sleeping with the subordinate? Why do you have that? Oh my God. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't even ask that question. Tadiwa.
What?
Are you sleeping with someone now?
No, I'm in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the subordinate.
No. No.
Yo, because the way you moved and the things you were saying, the way you behaved just now, got me the vibe that this guy either may still have been in the picture up until now, but
He is now, but just as a friend.
And you guys can control.
We're really cool now.
Mad.
Yeah. Like the other time I was even giving him relationship advice, you know. The friendship has evolved.
Well, do you know what? This is obviously one of those episodes that would have required us to have had a lot more time that we have on our hands. But I feel like perhaps we have enough. At least because I concluded you're no longer speaking with Banguza. He's out of the picture.
He is.
You know, the subordinate, kind of play the part, which is relatable to your lessons somehow, somewhere. So I'll wrap this up by playing this back for people not even listening to this. Why are you laughing? Especially like that after you got something to tell me. Anyway, lesson number 1. Sometimes you're the toxic one. I get it and I also don't. In the sense that I think this might be related to the fact that you now felt the need to trigger him and piss him off. And then also go down the route of linking up with subordinate and getting all of that. I totally get that angle.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say I do and I don't is by the time you're doing these sort of things, you're no longer yourself, Tadiwa. You're no longer Tadiwa thinking rationally. You are the victim of domestic abuse and your mind is not the same.
But then that doesn't take away from the fact that I was being toxic. And I may have, probably if I had not been acting that way, maybe he was over the whole being abusive. Maybe he was over it. But because I now craved it, now I'm triggering him, intentionally doing things that...
That for me, again, remains a consequence of what he had done to you. So, again, I ain't no psychologist. I don't know how the brain works. But something about that, it still doesn't kind of feel right. I don't think you were the toxic one. You were acting out a character because of the abuse you've been exposed to. All right. Lesson number 2. You will never be able to change the person they are. That is obvious.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Number 3, the red flags will never turn green. Another very obvious one, especially in this case. And this last but not least, don't hate someone so much that you become them. And you were kind of becoming them.
And also, it even affected the next relationship I had after that. I was now pretty much the narcissistic one in that relationship. Always trying to find some way I can be like, I got you. You're doing this to me. I was now the insecure one, the one with trust issues. Why are you not talking to me? Why are you not answering my calls? This was now after that relationship with Banguza. In a new relationship, trying something new with somebody else. And I am him now. I remember one time we had an argument about something with the new guy at the time. I slapped him.
You slapped him?
I slapped him. I was so angry and I slapped him. I felt so out of control. Then after that, I told him, I was like, you know what? I think we need to end this relationship. That's when I was like, no, this guy damaged me and I need to fix myself before I perpetuate.
Do you feel you fixed yourself now?
We're trying. I'm almost there. At least now I'm with somebody who's patient.
Do you feel like you need help?
I was doing therapy. The bulk of 2020 and 2021, I was doing therapy, and I think it did help because those therapies, man, they're heartless.
Because they help you try and
but then because they're brutally honest,
yeah.
They're not trying to skirt around. So I feel like it did kind of help because you then also start to see, okay, yes, abuse is bad, violence is not, but then maybe it is a normal reaction to it when you start trying to trigger them intentionally. Maybe it is, I don't know. But then you also now start to see your own part. If I had left the moment, but then now I'm trying.
Good.
I'm trying.
At least It's not a definitive yes, I'm back on my feet, because you're recognizing that there's still room for you to do and be better than you
Because
are.
sometimes I still see him in my actions. Like, no. And I have to stop myself. Yeah.
Well, I've been for therapy myself for a couple of things. Very helpful. And I've had a lot of conversations with people in the past that have been very, very helpful. If anything you should continue doing is talking to those that you feel will help you, because at some point you will get to the point where like, oh, do you know what? I'm a lot better now.
Yeah.
So whatever source that is for you, stick with it and make it happen.
What I'll say though is church therapy, it's useless. Because those guys will be telling you to pray about everything. It's not that people don't know they need to pray. And it's not that people don't appreciate the role God plays in our problems, in our issues. We appreciate it. But then there are things that are not going to be solved by prayer. You can't give me a list of prayer points for real life problems. So I think I am currently a strong advocate for non-religious therapy.
And again, I can relate with that, which is why my comment was, whatever source of support and conversation you need to have, lean into that. So at least we know it's definitely not coming from the religious side of things, which again might be another opportunity for you to sit down and talk to someone to understand what happened there. Because I understand what my issues with religion are, because I've sat down with someone and I've broken down and I recognize
what they are.
Yeah. So if you haven't,
I have a rough idea of what they are.
Well, go to the source that will really help you talk these things, and be patient with yourself. There's no race in getting yourself back to a really good space. Honestly, take your time, pace yourself. Don't say I wasted 2 years with this person who's made me like this, so I need to get my 2 years back first before I can reset the button.
Yeah,
be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I will catch you in next weekend's episode. Peace.
Tell me what you're
Sati's on Daru Raini and Chagezai.
Tell me what you're feeling now that it's over.
Sati's on Daru Raini and Chagezai.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziru amai.
Kujidziru amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziru amai.